And away we go. Best 3 out of 5 sets. And Irvine quickly into the middle to Trevor Clark, the junior transfer from San Diego Mesa College. Pretty good serve from Birdie. And a good pass sets up the middle attack for the man who was the Southern Region Player of the Year last year for San Diego Mesa. After the kill, he was back to serve. And a stuff block. 2 quick points for UCI, and Micah Goss got a big part of that block. Quinn Bishop rejected by the 2-man hands by UC Irvine. They go right back to him, shoveled into the block. And a deep rip into the crossbar by Andre Jokanovic, the freshman from France. First look at Jokanovic. That was a good set by Goss as well. But a very quick 3-0 start to this match for UCI. Looking to the right side and missing long, Sawyer Nichols. And a dream start for UC Irvine. This is an Anteater team whose season came to a close in the semifinal, the Big West Championship last year against Hawaii, lost in 4. So after that wonderful service run by Trevor Clark, a 3-0 run, Harvard get the side out, and back to serve Brian Thomas, the senior from California, one of the 2 captains on this Harvard team. Looking to the right side. Nice block deflection by UCI. Nice dig by Birdie. And the swing well off the net by Quinn Bishop will miss. And a quick 5-point lead for UC Irvine. And this is Aiden Rigg wearing number 3 today. One of the 2 setters, again, UC Irvine running a 6-2. How will they handle that? Their offense last year revolved around Alir Henna, who has since graduated. That ricochets off hands of Cameron Costi into the pin, and a point for Harvard. There's Sawyer Nichols, the sophomore who hails from the state of Washington. Missed a lot of last year's season in the middle of March. And look at that play. Fantastic work by Micah Goss. Not quite on the same page with his setter. And again, that is Aiden Rigg wearing number 3. Typically wears 24. Overpass induced. And look at that rip dug out of the backcourt by Birdie. Another crack at it for UCI. Dug by Aiken. Can Harvard capitalize on a couple good digs? Nichols went high hands, missed, but a net violation on UC Irvine will give the point to Harvard. First big rally of this match. Went for high hands, but the miss nullified by the net violation. So here is Harvard back to serve with Quinn Bishop. Lost 3 key starters after last year's season, including their starting setter, and both these teams losing their starting setters from last year. Fantastic dig. What a hustle play by Thomas Fong. And there's a good chunk of Harvard fans behind where we're sitting, and a big salute to Thomas Fong, the sophomore libero from Dallas, Texas, for what he just did on that last rally. Perfect pass, perfect set, and the kill from the outside. An 8-4 Irvine lead. And that's Andon Kiriakou, who's wearing 4 this evening. Typically wears 14. Kiriakou's first kill, first target of the night. Riggs sets up the back row attack. And that's off the antenna. Point for Harvard. That was Cameron Costi swinging from the right side. Costi, who did not play last year, the redshirt freshman from Hayward, California, gets the start today in this 6-2 rotation for UC Irvine. Costi and Rigg, the 2 designated setters, and also hitters on the right side in the specific rotation for UCI. So Costi will go back to serve. Man who redshirted last year, the 6'5" setter and opposite. One of 4 setters on this team. There was a big conversation, still is the conversation for UC Irvine after losing Joe Carlos last year. Who's going to dominate that setter position? And in the middle, Trevor Clark, the transfer. There's been some big praise by David Niffen for Trevor Clark. Standing at 6'10", sniffing that ball out in the middle. 10-5 Irvine lead. So with the conversation for UC Irvine about who would be their starting setter, same thing, that same question posed to the Harvard Crimson. Lost James Barden, the starting setter last year, and really the past 2 years is Adrian Shevchuk, who gets the nod as the setter this evening. Sat 2 years behind James Barden the past 2 years. Gets his chance to run this Crimson offense. So here's Andon Kiriakou, junior in his 3rd year from Toronto, Canada. Again, he wears 4 tonight. Fong's been busy already as the libero for Harvard. And that's going to be a point for the Crimson. There was a touch. An 11-7 lead for UCI. Zach Birdie was named to the EIVA preseason watch list, back to serve. It was a rocket, but fantastic pass by Jokanovic on the give and go. And the freshman from France, one of the biggest men coming into this program, big as in importance to this Irvine program. Played on some national teams, U19 and U21 levels for the French national team. And once again, back-to-back kills. Jokanovic, 6'7", outside hitter. And this kill by number 9 forces Harvard to call a timeout, first timeout on the floor. And UC Irvine leading 13-7 over Harvard. Of the first day of the A6 Invitational, UC Santa Barbara tournament hosts took down Kentucky State in straight sets. And currently UC Irvine ranked number 6 in the country in the AVCA preseason poll, out to an early 13-7 lead over the Harvard Crimson. Irvine play out of the Big West. The Crimson play out of the Eastern Intercollegiate Volleyball Association, the EIVA. Overpass in the last 3 points, all courtesy of number 9, Andrei Jokanovic, who the coaching staff, including David Niffen, so excited about to get him into this Irvine program. UC Irvine lost 3 All-Americans last year, including their starting setter. And you bring in this freshman, a lot of international experience, really bolsters an already top-tier program in the country. Brian Thomas with the serve. And that ball cranked out of the middle by Micah Goss. Nearly took the cover off that volleyball. Going 1-on-1 and punishes the Harvard Crimson. That set was tight to the pin, but making it work, Jokanovic. What an impact he's already having in his first set with UC Irvine. Drifting towards that far antenna, able to help out Aiden Rigg. Now goes back to serve again. He's wearing number 3, not his typical number. He's got an ace. Owen Wolbert thought that ball was sliding out of play. I believe most of the people here in Rob Gym thought that ball was going to miss wide, but instead, it's the first ace of the evening for either side. Dug by Aiken. Sets up Rigg. And slapped off hands. The kill for Cameron Costi. So that's Aiden Rigg setting up the other setter. If you're joining us late, UC Irvine running a 6-2 to start off this match. Not too often in the men's game you see the 6-2 being run with the limited substitutions. At 6, the women's game you give them 15. And much easier to use the 6-2. But UC Irvine running the 2-setter offense. As Harvard and their setter Shevchuk sets up Nichols on the right side. Now the first changes of the match for UCI. William Darcy along with Aiden Schulten now on the floor. Schulten checks in for Aiden Rigg. There's Schulten with the set. And once again, we're going right back to Andrei Jokanovic. Jokanovic already has 6 kills. It's not only just the 6 kills, 1 error on 9 targets for the man now back to serve. So with the first changes, Aiden Schulten along with Will Darcy was ABCA All-American honorable mention last year on the floor. Stuff block, UCI. And they are rolling in this opening set. And Harvard will use their second timeout of this opening frame. The 61st annual A6 Invitational. Andrei Jokanovic has been unbelievable in his first ever collegiate match. Had a lot of experience the international ranks with the French national teams. As that ball will miss long. I should say ricochets long off the hands of Micah Goss, who's been sniffing out a good number of stuff blocks already. Been 3 blocks for UCI compared to none for Harvard. Not only that, UCI hitting .474 and Harvard hitting 0. But an ace. Quinn Bishop, the junior from Florida. So the second timeout being called by Brian Bays, the 18th year head coach for Harvard. 2 quick points for the Crimson. Both teams kicking off their seasons here this afternoon. Micah Goss back to serve. Just like Will Darcy, ABCA All-American honorable mention last year. Just in his freshman season, now a sophomore. And he's a Santa Barbara native, a little bit of a homecoming. Went to high school right across the road from where we are currently. That was Dos Pueblos High School. Good control touch, but falls. No cover on a good control touch by Trevor Clark. It'll go down as a kill for Sawyer Nichols. Third kill, leading all Crimson hitters for Sawyer Nichols. It's going to put the junior Owen Wolbert from Jackson, Ohio, back to serve. Working on Jokanovic. Nice dig out of the back row by Bishop. That's going to be a point for UCI. Double contact, and once again the blocking game. The 4th block. Going up against 3. Tough ask for any outside. As Birdie was roofed. 10-point edge for Irvine. Now some changes coming for UC Irvine. Costi is going to check back in along with Aiden Rigg. And the duo of Will Darcy and Aiden Schulten will check out. But back to serve, Adrian Shevchuk, the junior for Harvard, working on Aiken. And a big back row swing, which will miss long for Andrei Jokanovic. Just the second hitting error from Jokanovic so far today. Prior to that was hitting .556 in the early goings of this match. That waterfalls down on the inside of the block. Crafty play from the junior from Toronto. This is a 6-2 opposite. So he's going to check out. Kiriakou. On this play will now give way to Micah Thomas, who makes his debut this evening, redshirted last year. And Thomas hails from West Palm Beach, Florida. This is a 5'7" setter, pretty good serve. First time ever for UC Irvine. Fantastic dig by Aiken. The hard cross swing by Jokanovic missed long. That's going to be a point for Harvard. Kiriakou just checked in. It was a serving sub for Micah Thomas. Now back to serve will be Zach Birdie, the top returning offensive player for this Crimson's team. Aiden Rigg working from the right side. Will give UC Irvine set point number 1. Here, match number 2, day 1 of the A6 Invitational. Trevor Clark, tough first contact. Chance to win the first set right here. But the stuff by Brian Thomas. Turns away Micah Goss. As the Crimson will go to their bench, the freshman from Cambridge, Massachusetts, Eric Sue. And it's set point number 2 for Irvine. Harvard, the scoring block. Finding an answer to Andrei Jokanovic. Now set point number 3 for UC Irvine. Harvard gaining a little momentum late here in the first. And Goss ends the first with a hammer. First set goes to the designated home team, UC Irvine, the number 6 ranked team in the country. Take the first 25-17 over Harvard. Irvine, a team that lost 4 key players from the 25 roster, 3 All-Americans, including your starting setter. What Coach David Niffen said about his team, well, it's like last year, last 2 years, we've been so Heno-dependent. Now a much more balanced team. That's what we're trying to do. So the head coach for UC Irvine, how can we build a system that can revolve around the current personnel that we have? And in that first set, the personnel for UC Irvine hit 4 points under 300, 296, and Harvard hit 0. There's been a lot of work already for the freshman from France, Andrei Jokanovic. Been targeted 12 times. What's going to be the response for the Harvard Crimson? Second all-time meeting between Harvard and UC Irvine. First of which was January 12th of 2022 down in Irvine. The Anteaters prevailed in 4 sets. This is match 2 of 3. And you see just to the right of your picture wearing some red and black on the far stands, the CSUN Matadors will be playing later on tonight. They'll be taking on the University of Maryville. Right now, Andon Kyriakou wearing number 4 tonight. Back to serve to kick off the second frame. Chance for Harvard to recycle the point. Finishing it off, Owen Wolbert. He was named to the All-EIVA honorable mention list last year. And same thing which we were just talking about for UC Irvine. Personnel leaving, same thing can be said for Harvard. Lost their 2 top offensive threats, including their starting setter. Quickly into the middle. Trevor Clark feasting on the perfect pass. Only one man up against him and punishes Harvard. Going over on 2. That was Aiden Rigg wearing 3 tonight. And that trundles off the tape and will be a point for Harvard off the block and out of bounds. So here's the 6'6" middle blocker from Jackson, Ohio. Had a really solid sophomore year, now elevates himself to a more senior position on this Crimson team. A very young team as well for Harvard. Also a relatively small roster, 12 on the active roster. Another kill for Jokanovic, gave him 6. At one point was hitting well over 500, but a couple of hitting errors slowed down that metric in the first set. But you can already see the impact of number 9 in white and what he's going to mean for this Irvine team the rest of this season. Nice control touch. And sets up Micah Goss. The block touch to completely slow down that ball by Jokanovic. And he sets up Goss for the put down. It's not just the offensive end for Jokanovic, as it has already been highlighted in this match. Now back to serve the junior from Kennett Square, Pennsylvania, the 6'4" setter, Adrian Shevchuk. Sat behind James Barden the last 2 years in a Harvard uniform. It's his time now. Unforced error from Irvine. And a rare one at that for Micah Goss, who last year hit .463 in his freshman year. 1 point lead for the Crimson. Opening set went to Irvine 25-17. Andrei Jokanovic, who we've said his name already a lot this evening, back to serve. A service error on the young freshman who's spent time with the U19, U21 French youth national team at the World Championships. Rejection. Thomas and Nichols. The sea of red on Kyriakou. After it was all Irvine in the first set, Harvard, who hit 0 in the opening frame. Big kill, and what a hustle play by Kyriakou to keep that ball up. Nichols finishes it off. So Harvard hit 0 in the first, granted small sample size currently, but right now hitting 400. You can see a different energy on the Harvard side. Kyriakou, they went right back to him. Picks up his 3rd kill of the night. Back now is Micah Goss, who graduated from high school right across the street. Dos Pueblos High School graduate and a Santa Barbara native. Homecoming for Goss. Top freshman all of college volleyball last year. Nice dig by Rigg, and a free chance for Harvard. And that one found its way through the block and out of play. Nice swing by Quinn Bishop. That's a 3-point edge for Harvard. The junior from Jupiter, Florida, found the seam in the gap of the block, rather. And Brian Thomas now back to serve for Harvard. That ball will find the edge of the court. Trevor Clark. He's now 3 for 3. And a big pickup at the junior college ranks for UC Irvine. Spent the last 2 years at San Diego Mesa, the Lake Elsinore native. Nice serve by Costi and a nice reception by Fong. And the one-on-one bid, all Trevor Clark. One man up. And Clark wins that battle over Owen Wolbert. He's going to stay with Costi. And kill off the right side for Sawyer Nichols. Had a big role in his freshman season, which was last year for the now sophomore. Working on that right side. Missed all of March last year. He goes back to serve. And the top returning offensive player. Harvard lost Shepard and Fanning last year, graduated, and Nichols returns with the most kills per set from last year's season at 2.5. Missed that last serve, and it's a 1-point edge for the Crimson. Here's Andon Kiriakou. That's off the block. Well done by Quinn Bishop. Bishop has his 3rd kill. And the junior has had some different roles as Bishop goes back to serve throughout his course and his time at Harvard. He was mainly as a serving sub last year and gets the nod. The season opener. It's already been targeted 11 times, 3 kills. Goss sets up the southpaw on the right side. And a free chance for Irvine, rather. That was 4 contacts. And check that, it was a double contact on the overset. So ball handling error on Shevchuk. And we're all tied at 10. And that ball is kept alive. Our linesman signaled that ball was down. And the linesman, there was conflicting calls on the floor, but this will go down as a point for Irvine. So a fantastic dig out of the back row by Irvine. Ikonovich picks up the kill, and now an ace. Trevor Clark having a huge impact. He's 3 for 3, and defensively what he's been doing, he's got 3 blocks, and he's now got an ace, junior transfer. That sets tight, over and out, and a point for Harvard. That ends a 4-0 scoring run for UC Irvine. Well, at one point we're trailing by 3. And prior to that error, we're leading by 2. So here's Wolbert. Last year was also named to the Conference Defensive Player of the Week. Nice pass. And that ball did not find a touch, rode the top of the tape, and an unforced error for Irvine, as Harvard will pick up the point. Tied at 12 in the second. Aiden Riggs going back to serve. If you're joining us late, UC Irvine using a two-setter system here this evening. Cameron Costi, along with Rigg, got the start. Rigg had the stab and a free chance for Harvard. Couldn't capitalize. Goss dunks and a point for the Anteaters. So a couple of loose mistakes. And UC Irvine able to capitalize after there was a free ball for Harvard. This is Aiden Rigg. Was the number 2 setter behind Carlos last year. And that's a big mitt. Cleaning up the scraps, Brian Thomas. The 7-foot middle blocker. First kill of the evening for Thomas. That's going to sail along. 15th point of the night for Irvine. Really nice pass by Thomas Fung. And a net violation on Harvard. Point for Irvine. Big rip out of the backcourt by Jokanovic. And a timeout called by Harvard. The Crimson were leading by 3, but Irvine, courtesy of a 4-0 run, a couple extra points, now leads 16-13 over the Crimson. Set to none. Taking the first 25-17. Now lead the second 16-13. Irvine ranks number 6 in the AVCA preseason poll. UCLA picked number 1 in the preseason offering. And that was a rocket of a serve by Jokanovic. Handled pretty well, but Harvard couldn't get a decent enough second contact, and a point for Irvine. And the impact for Andrei Jokanovic, what he's going to do this season for UC Irvine. Had a lot of international experience with the French national teams, and an ace. Offensively, had a huge first set, and Irvine, their second 4-0 run. Back-to-back aces. Jokanovic unloading once again behind the service line. 5-0 scoring run for UC Irvine. And another timeout called by Harvard. Andrei Jokanovic leading the charge for Irvine. They're on a 5-0 run. 6 and UC Irvine are on a 5-0 run. Andrei Jokanovic has had 9 kills on 15 targets, 3 blocks, 2 aces for the man who's currently behind the service line for the UC Irvine Anteaters. Good timeout by Brian Bays and the Harvard Crimson to get number 9 off the service line. Zach Birdie now back to serve. Top returning offensive player for Harvard. Conference honorable mention last season. He's really been a consistent starter and presence since his freshman year with the Crimson. Kiriakou able to slice it through the block in the 20th point of the set for UC Irvine. Micah Goss now back to serve. ABCA All-American honorable mention named to the All-Big West freshman team. Working on Fung. Rigg looking for Costi off that right side. That bump set outside the antenna. And a point for Irvine. Thomas was looking to the outside for Quinn Bishop. And now our R2, Rick Olmstead, is having a word with our first referee, Tony Chan. As it stands right now, it's a 6-1 scoring run for UC Irvine. Our two very decorated officials here this evening. Rick Olmstead, who's the down referee for this match. The local legend down in Carpinteria. Big presence in the volleyball community here in Santa Barbara. And there's Brian Bay's first season with Harvard was in 2009. 18th season for the Harvard Crimson head coach. So everything sorted out, and Micah Goss remaining back to serve. Started every match last year as a true freshman. And wiped off hands. Well done by the Harvard Crimson. Looks like there's going to be a serving sub now for Harvard. Eric Sue, who we saw in the first, enter to serve. He's playing in his first college match this evening. Looking outside, unloading Kiriakou. 5th kill of the night for number 4. And now some changes. We've seen Will Darcy enter along with Aiden Schulten. The two setters that started this match for UC Irvine. Aiden Rigg, who's wearing 3 tonight, and along with Cameron Costi. But it's now Schulten on the floor. And a transition swing will paint the back corner by Will Darcy. Darcy, All-American last year, 6'10" opposite. And Schulten will continue to serve, 23-15. And a crafty off-speed shot by Quinn Bishop. Got a little aid from the tape as well. And that will put Sawyer Nichols back to serve. Before coming to Harvard, spent some time with the Apex Volleyball Northwest Travel Volleyball Club up in the state of Washington. Irvine won the first set 25-17. And after an early 3-point deficit, a couple of 4-0 scoring runs, one of which stretched out to a 5-0 run, has given Irvine set point number 1 in the second. Serving sub Micah Thomas on to serve. Set point number 1 for the UC Irvine Anteaters. Really nice pass after a very nice serve. That ball's dunked down, and Irvine take the second. Will Darcy, Trevor Clark, 2 men up, and 2 sets up now for Irvine. They take the second 25-16. On to the third. Irvine in control. Crimson 2-0. It's the second all-time meeting between these two programs, their first of which was in 2022. Irvine won in 4 sets. Irvine out of the Big West. Irvine was selected 3rd In the very difficult Big West, Harvard out of the EIVA. And Harvard was selected, tied 5th along with Charleston in the 17 EIVA conference. And to kick off the third set, both Costi and Aiden Rigg will be on the floor. So David Niffen sticking with his 2 setters in the starting rotation for UC Irvine. Lost Ilir Heno in their starting setter. Total 3 All-Americans last year. Changing things up, and this will be a point for Harvard to kick off the third set. Kai Gam, the freshman from Huntington Beach, entering in this third set. Andre Jokanovic back to serve, leading all Irvine hitters with 9 kills, .312 efficiency, 5 blocks, and 2 aces for number 9 in white. Working on the right side, and that ball is down on the Crimson side of the floor. It was real close, but fantastic work on the scoring block. Kiriakou and Micah Goss also sealing that block. We're tied at 2. Zach Birdie back to serve. Hit .246 last year from Corona Del Mar. In terms of the service errors throughout this match, there have been 12 for Harvard, 8 for Irvine. Also Irvine, 3 more aces in the Harvard Crimson. So less errors and more aces for UC Irvine. Big part of why they lead 2-0. Brian Thomas, one of just 2 seniors on this team, he's back to serve. A Harvard team that is comprised of 12 men, 5 of which are true freshmen. Very young Harvard team. That man is also a freshman, not playing like one. 10th kill on the night for number 9, Jokanovic. Nice back row combination by the Anteaters. Cameron Costi did not play last year, redshirted. First ever collegiate match here tonight. Beautiful pass by Fong. Nice cover by Clark. And the solo stuff. Trevor Clark going one-on-one. The blocking game has been severely tilted in favor of Irvine. 8 blocks for Irvine compared to just 3 for Harvard. Just 1 man up. And Trevor Clark, the 4th block of the night, rather the 5th. Free chance now coming for the Eaters. That hit the antenna. Heck of an effort by Kai Gan. But it'll be a back row kill for Jokanovic. What an effort from the freshman from Huntington. (6-3) Irvine lead. And it's Costi back to serve. He's going to be setting in this rotation, induces the overpass. And an out-of-system set will result in a hitting error and a point for Harvard. And with the departure of Joe Carlos, Irvine 4 setters on the roster, hence why David Niffen starting this match and continuing to use 2 setters. Also helps when Cameron Costi hits well from the right side, and you can use the 6-2 rotation. And out of the middle, Trevor Clark. And on Kiriakou. Hit 149 last year. Played in 37 sets. Also spent some time with Team Canada at the U21 World Championships. Dug by Kyriakou. But that did not clear the back row. Illegal back row attack. Not clear the 10-foot line. Great dig by Kyriakou regardless, and it'll be a point for Irvine, leading 8-4. Gann with the set, the D ball, and dug up by Kyriakou. Looking outside, just one man up, and a net violation on Aiden Rigg. He's the only man up as that ball was sailing long. Might have been a touch throw on his fingertips, but a net regardless to put Quinn Bishop back on the service line. It was Aiden Shevchuk who got the start, the setting position. The setter change after the first two sets by Brian Bays. Kai Gann, graduate just last year of Huntington Beach High School. You see him there wearing 10 in red. Leading the offense here in the third. 10th service error of the night for Irvine. There have been 12 for Harvard. Owen Wolbert, 6'6", middle blocker from Jackson, Ohio. Back to serve for the Crimson. Goss, an unforced error out of the middle after the easy serve. Slapped out of bounds, and a point for Harvard. Not the best toss from Wolbert, just had to bunny it over the net. And it's a 2-point lead for Irvine. Irvine leads the match 2-0. Tough first contact, but Costi was able to set it up on to the outside. And Kyriakou, his 12th kill. And it helps when you got two setters on the floor. Costi, rather, that was Rigg with the set, as he's going to now go back to serve. He's wearing number 3. Typically wears 24. Gann looks to the back row and a nice cover. Stabbed at it again, but blocking game for Irvine continues to produce. 9th block for Irvine of the match. Goss and Clark. Clark 6'10", Goss 6'6". Harvard get the side out. And Kai Gann, who was the 2025 Sunset League MVP last year, has the offense in his control here in the third. And for the Harvard Crimson, last year their season ended in the EIVA tournament opening round against Penn State. Lost in straight sets for the first round departure in the Eastern Intercollegiate Volleyball Association. Dug by Aiken, overpass, stabbed at, and knocked forward. Really good play by Kyriakou, saw the open space. And Thomas Fung, who wears the libero jersey for Harvard, he's had a fantastic night, especially in the early sets. Been all over the floor. Goss caps off the overpass. And a timeout called by the Harvard Crimson. The service pressure from tournament hosts, the Gauchos, won the first match of the day over Kentucky State in straight sets. And Irvine looked to sweep Harvard. They lead 2-0. And a copious 15-8 edge in the third set. Andrei Jokanovic wears number 9 in white. Well, Sale has served long this time, but what a debut it has been for number 9. Jokanovic, 12 kills, 400 efficiency, 2 aces, along with 6 digs. And how good the blocking game has been for Irvine. When you look at last year's season, they averaged right around 2 blocks a set. They're currently sitting at 9. Back to serve for the Crimson, Zach Birdie. Conference honorable mention last year, was named to the conference preseason watch list this season. Here's Micah Goss. The homecoming for Goss, graduate Dos Pueblos High School, the closest high school to where we are on the campus of UC Santa Barbara. Just right down the road, rather, or across the street. But working off the right side, Sawyer Nichols, his 6th kill, 21st target on the night for 24 in red. Here's Brian Thomas, one of just 2 seniors on this Harvard roster, along with Birdie, captains the side. That ball was a rifle off the hand of Costi, working off the right side. Changes now for UC Irvine. Will Darcy, the All-American last year, along with Aiden Schulten on the floor. Saw this in the first 2 sets for UC Irvine. And Schulten spent really the last 2 years as a serving specialist for the Anteaters. And you can see why, an ace for Schulten. The numbers last year for 27, 4 aces to just 6 errors. There's not a lot of volume in terms of aces, and same thing on the error department. When he was called upon last year, he was effective. Been effective here tonight as well. A nice pass by Fung. Roofed. Darcy and Trevor Clark. You got a lot of size between those 2 men. Both standing at 6'10". And if you got them going up on a ball off the net, good luck trying to work your way against that 2-man block. Swatted down by Andon Kiriakou. And it is a 4-0 run for Irvine. 7th kill for Kiriakou tonight. And this run continues with Aiden Schulten. Just played 13 sets last year. And continues to dial up some big serves. No touch on the swing by Quinn Bishop. And UC Irvine right now hitting 400 this set, hitting 367 on the night. Harvard hitting under 100 for the match. Really nice pass. Transition look for Darcy. Nice up by Nichols. Oh, Will Darcy. Hello. Fantastic angle here. Straight down on the stuff by the All-American last year from Brisbane, Australia. It remains with Schulten. A 6-0 run for UC Irvine. We'll come to a close. But Aiden Schulten, see why He's been used as a serving specialist for UC Irvine the past couple seasons. Granted, there were some really nice passes from Harvard. But back to serve now, Sawyer Nichols. UC Irvine approaching match point. Dumped down, Schulten keeps it alive. Nice dig by Bishop. Clark finishes off the play. So for Trevor Clark, spent 2 years at San Diego Mesa College. In his Irvine debut, he's now got 6 kills, no errors on 7 swings for Trevor Clark, and that's good for .857 hitting efficiency. And you look back to the numbers for last year for Trevor Clark, he hit .442, averaging 6.3 kills a set. That's how good Clark was last year. So Micah Thomas back on to serve for Irvine. Pass was tight, dunked down, Kai Gann. Cerebral play from the freshman setter. First ever collegiate kill. Pass was tight, no problem for the freshman from Huntington Beach. Hit back to serve. Darcy off some hands. And UC Irvine lead 24-12 and match point number 1. Both teams kicking off their season here this evening. Day 1 of the A6 Invitational, and Trevor Clark, match point number 1, will send it into the netting. But what a first match for Trevor Clark. Last year was recognized as the Southern Region Player of the Year, JC level. And Owen Wolbert back to serve, match point number 2 for UC Irvine. To the outside, cranked home by Jokanovic. 13 kills from the freshman from France, and UC Irvine winning straight sets against Harvard. Jokanovic highlighted first set. He's going to end the night hitting .429. And UC Irvine's performance highlighted by Jokanovic, the freshman, along by Trevor Clark. 6 kills, no errors on 7 swings for the junior transfer. And UC Irvine using the 2-setter system for the majority of the match. That setting job open with the departure of Joe Carlos, and a positive start for Irvine start to the year. 3-set victory over Harvard and the Crimson, a very young team. They're going to be taking on CSUN tomorrow, 2 o'clock Pacific time. Then against the tournament hosts, the Gauchos, on Saturday, 7 o'clock Pacific time. We can take a look at some match highlights here from Rob Jim. Irvine ended the match